Welcome back to the Caribou Data Science Channel. It is a Wednesday evening, December the 14th, 2020, here in Central Ohio in the U.S. I'm going to run a few more reports on various EU countries, okay? COVID-19 analysis for various EU countries. So let's come back over here. Let's come to, I already had Germany. I don't, okay. Germany. Okay, so let's come over here. Let's take a look at some data. John Hopkins, our world. You know what, let's just go with John Hopkins to start with, okay? Okay, we go here and come here. Now, as you can see, there's quite a bit of, this is a reminder, I'm only working with daily numbers here. I'm not going to be working with any total or cumulative totals. You can see we also have some additional numbers over here, but I'm going to stick with my formula using a couple moving averages and stuff like this to calculate. Okay, so we don't need this because you already know it's Germany. Let's do this. Day 7, day, and mortality rate. Maybe even, we'll see. Okay, so we're going to start with the 7-day average. All right. Okay. So now let's pull this down here. You can see the cases are definitely climbing. So this is average. This is 7-day moving average for cases and deaths. Let's get rid of this. Okay, come back up here. Let's calculate mortality rate. Daily deaths divided by daily cases. And this will be a, so do we want to do a, some of this is, that's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So, okay, we got this. Now let's go back over here. We're going to plot cases with a 70 moving average on top. Take a look and see exactly what's going on in Germany right now. Okay. Unfortunately, this looks familiar. You can see that interesting enough, despite this volatility, do they have days when they don't? Nothing really unusual about their numbers. Okay. So this gives us, you can see they are experiencing a spike in cases. This is actually 30,000, spiking above 30,000 cases per day, but there is a lot of volatility. So we're going to pay more attention to this number right here, all right? You can see in actual fact the number of daily cases is pretty much leveled out. There is some volatility, but it is definitely leveling out. Deaths and deaths. Now cases. Well, this isn't good. What we're seeing both cases You're seeing cases and deaths spiking in Germany right now. So that's not particularly good. Let's do this. Let's take a look at the mortality rate. It's my prediction. I would say, well, that's an interesting question because we have both increasing. Although deaths seem to be increasing at a greater rate than cases. So we could see a fairly high mortality rate. Let's see what we got here. Absolutely. Okay, well this isn't right. We didn't copy the right one. Okay. So let's take a look at mortality rate here. So here's the rate. Okay. So you can see we got a really low mortality rate right over here at the bottom. So let's try this. Let's try start. Let's zoom in. We can see this. We can see cases spiked back here. Now let's come over here and let's move into say 7.1. Okay, we'll use a simple filter. Let's take a look over here. So now you can see this zooms in. You get a little better picture of how you can see this starting to climb up here a little bit. 1%, 2%, 4% with a spike, then it drops back down. So I'm going to say on average it's 1 to 3%, 1 to 2%. So mortality rate actually isn't that bad. You can see this steady climb up in cases, of course, along with this volatility, which I don't really understand why you got just a wide range of volatility for. 125, 388, 480, 2. Back here, it spiked in the last 3 days. It's been declining. Okay. Okay. So as far as Germany, not particularly good. Cases are fluctuating about 20,000 cases per day, it looks like. Deaths are climbing up to above 400 per day before dropping back down. Mortality rate is, say, 1 to 4%, maybe 2 to 3% most of the time. Not all that bad. Definitely the mortality rate is not good, or the deaths and the mortality rate are not good. Oops. Do I have France back over here? Okay, let's do. I actually already have another. Let's just see something here. I'm just going to slip in. Actually, I also have Germany, I believe. Okay. Since I've got France over here, let's just go ahead and run the number for France. Basically, what I do is I look and see how many views a video gets. All right. Then I come back and I just then I if a country's getting more than say 4, 5, 6 views for their country on my data set, I then promote it up to a to a more full blown report. So let's come in and run this right here for France, see exactly what it looks like. Oops. Uh, line 20. Let's run this. Let's run this. Oh. Okay, let's skip this here for the time being. Run this again. Okay, good. If we come down here, so let's try this right here. So let's just get rid of this for right now and see how this works. Well, this must not be France then, is it? Hmm. Let's do this. Well, let's just go to our new data set then. And what do we want to look at here? Let's look at John Hopkins. John Hopkins, location, France. Okay, I'm going to be switching over to this data set tomorrow anyway. Let's just see what happens here now. Okay, good. Let's see something here. This is going to be date. This is going to be date. Then we're going to do an order by date. All right. Let's try this. Okay, good. Let's see. Do we actually come down here and use these averages any place? Oh. Okay. Let's just try this here again, shall we? Run this. Let's try. Object case is not found. New cases. New cases. New cases. Let's see. New cases. New deaths. New deaths divided by new cases. Cases. New cases. New deaths. New deaths. Aggregate functions. I'm not sure how this is going to work. New cases. New deaths. I really don't need this anymore. I could just come here, replace this with deaths. Okay. Let's just come back up here, see if we can run this through here. Okay, so now you can see the trouble with France. It got this volatility, which is really crazy. Okay, and I've also got commas. All right, take a look at this. Okay, you can see the craziness over here at the volatility in France. Uh, it appears that deaths are declining in France again. Following this some craziness, up. Did you really have, you know, this much volatility on a day-to-day basis? Cases, they appear to be on the declining now. Okay, let's take a look at some weekly cases and deaths. Okay, here's the cases. You can see a big spike in cases back in October, November, into December for cases. Uh, a long law, a long lull in the action here, but now you can see that the cases are starting to climb again over here. Although they have declined the last 1, 2, 3 weeks, but you notice there's still less than the spike back in April and May. Okay, we got it. New. Okay, let's plot this now. So these are monthly cases. You can see a huge spike in cases beginning in July. Deaths, well, a spike. The second largest month for deaths so far in France was November, apparently. What about plots of cumulative cases and deaths? Don't need that. Let's just see how this works. I personally don't place much stock in cumulative cases because cumulative numbers can either, case of deaths can only do one or two things. They can go up or they can flatten out like you see in here. But they should never go down and they should never be negative. According to John Washington University's Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation, the single best measure of the spread of a pandemic is daily deaths. Now let's say followed by weekly deaths, okay? But you can see weekly deaths here. The numbers on average do seem to be declining, so that's good news, all right? So that's a quick report for France. Come back over here like so to EU countries. Very good. So let's go ahead and send this up to do a quick upload on this here also. That's all I really need. Okay. Okay, so that takes care of this for right now. We can come back over here. Now let's go to Greece. Let's change this to Greece, Greece, right? Come back over here with our numbers, our magic numbers again. So let's take Greece, let's come back over here. New deaths. Okay, here we go. Here, location, we don't need location. 7 day. This is a 7-day moving average as always. And mortality rate. So let's come down here to 9. Let's go ahead and calculate the 7-day moving average. Okay, let's go home. Let's calculate the mortality rate, deaths by cases. Okay, now we got Greece set up here. Let's plot new cases with a 7-day average on top. Well, Greece is not doing particularly well. It spiked as high as about 3,200 cases in one day, but they're now falling back down. So what's deaths look like here? But as you can see here, Uh, Cases spiked up as high as 100 per day, but appear now maybe to be flattening back out again, possibly. So let's do this. Take a look at mortality rate now. So let's come back out here to say 6-1. Let's try 6-1 to start with. Okay. Let's try 8-1. Okay, now we can see a little bit more of the climb here. Okay, thing is this. Well, this is good news here. The cases spiked back in, it looks like late November, early December. Now it's been declining down here, which is good news. Maybe deaths are starting to decline a little bit. Now the reason that you can see that because the cases spiked and deaths spiked. Okay. Now because the cases are declining but deaths remaining high, we're getting a higher mortality rate. You can see up until about say November 1st, it was 1 to 4%. Now in November 1st, the mortality rate began increasing up to 12%. That's slightly misleading. It's because the cases are declining, but the deaths are pretty flat. So overall, I'd say it's good news for certainly on the case front for Greece. Absolutely, and deaths appear to be declining also. So that's incredibly good news for Greece also. So let's do one more. Let's do Hungary. Do Hungary and cases. Okay, let's just try some. Let's just try someone over here. Undoing that. Let's just try copying this and see what happens. Oh man. Let's just see how this works. Okay, good. So that worked quite well, didn't it? Okay. Let's just make these bold. Save this, and now let's do our normal drill. Plot cases with cumulative cases, or with average, 7-day average. Okay. So Hungary started out well for almost the first, 7 months here. Then they had a huge spike spike of as much as 6,000 per day with some volatility. Well, it appears to maybe falling back down again according to the moving average. Let's do this and this. Line. Oh, so let's do this again. Daily desk was plotted with a side moving average. Okay. Well, this isn't real good news for Hungary, unfortunately. I guess the good news is the numbers are relatively small. But you can see here, there we go. So what you can see here with Hungary is you can see cases are increasing, maybe a slight downtrend here. Cases running between 4,000 and 7,000 per day. Deaths just continue to climb up above 150, approaching 200. Maybe a slight decline here. Let's take a look at death rate. Let's zoom into say 7. Let's zoom into 8.1 even. Okay, for Hungary. Let's just take a look here. Okay, now you can see what's going on. You can see what's going on with the cases. The cases are basically going up. They had a slight decline here, spike up, maybe a slight fall here, but they also got this large spike here. Deaths are just pretty much climbing steadily. Currently, currently Hungary's mortality rate for the last week has been between 4 and 6%. So that's a little high. But the good news is the deaths, well, not a lot of good news outside the fact 150 to 200 deaths a couple of days, maybe 4,000 to 7,000 cases on average. So that's not particularly good, is it? Hopefully Hungary will get things under control, and a vaccine will be available quickly, and able to begin to administer it to all the people. Alrighty. So anyway, this concludes the European Union analysis for tonight for the four countries. Germany, Greece, Hungary, and France. So anyway, thanks so much for your time, and we'll catch you on a later report.